To order. I said that already. Would you please call the roll?
Here. Mr. Adler?
Here.
Mr. Shaw?
Here.
Mr. Walker?
Here.
Mr. Wilson?
Here.
Mrs. Jackson? Here. Mrs. Ross?
Here.
All here.
Thank you. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You okay? Okay. Do we have any announcements?
President Ross.
Yeah. Let's start. He wants us to start over there and come around. Dr. Bob?
Good afternoon, everyone. The first day of school is right around the corner. Our students will return to begin the 17-18 school year on August 16th. Back-to-school packets should have arrived in the mailboxes of our returning students last week. The packets include important information, such as school supply lists, health requirements. Remember, first day compliance is required, and a school event calendar for your school, which can all be found on our website, www.peoriapublicschools.org/enrollment. Check your mailbox or our website to make sure you are prepared for the first day of school.
Thank you. Mr. Shaw?
If your child is new to the district or is an incoming kindergarten, 6th, 9th, or 12th grader, he or she will need to have physical and immunization requirements met and documentation turned in before they can begin school. Please visit Richwoods, Peoria High, Manual, or Glen Oak on Tuesday, July 25th, Thursday, July 27th, or Wednesday, August 2nd between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m., or Saturday, August 5th, between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. to turn in your documentation so we can welcome your child on the first day of school. You can also stop by Backpack Peoria at the Dream Center on July 29th between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. If you have not made your doctor's appointment yet, we will have dental and medical services available at our hubs, and Heartland Health Clinics will be on site to also book appointments for families. In addition, our hubs at Glen Oak and Manual will include translation services with Spanish-speaking staff members to assist our families. We hope to see you at our hubs starting Tuesday and Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Allen?
Another back-to-school note for our families. While start times will be normal for the first day of school, we want to make sure you are aware that all students will be dismissed early August 16th through September 1st as part of our back-to-school schedule. The 1-hour release is planned for these 2 weeks to accomplish two things. First, we'll allow our students in non-air-conditioned buildings some reprieve from the anticipated heat, and secondly, we will allow our staff 1 hour each day for professional development and training time. During these 2 weeks, the 1-hour early release will be automatic each day with dismissal at 1:30 p.m. for Tier 1 schools and 2:30 p.m. for Tier 2 schools. Please make plans for your child to be dismissed early. Our regular schedule will resume on Tuesday, September 5th. You can find more information on our website or in the back-to-school packet.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson?
A special note for returning families. Online registration does not open until July 24th via Family Access. All returning families must complete the process annually by logging on to Family Access before the first day of school, regardless if you need a physical immunization or have any updates to make. If you do not know your username or password, please plan to visit one of our hubs to retrieve your sign-on credentials. You can complete online registration while you are there or just sign on at home.
Thank you. Ms. Jackson?
We're trying something new with our handbook calendars this school year. Our families should expect their handbook/calendar in the mail by the end of July. We have included all PTO meetings and back-to-school events for our school, in addition to photo days. We know our handbook calendar is an important resource for families to use as they make back-to-school plans. We hope you enjoy and utilize this resource this school year as we work to have it to you before the school year begins. If you would like a copy, you can stop by the administration building starting August the 7th. Again, all returning families should receive their copy in the mail before then.
Thank you, Mr. Walter.
If you're passionate about teaching, join the remarkable team at the Peoria Public Schools. Make an appointment to meet our principals at our next hiring fair, Friday, July 28th, 2 to 6 p.m. at the Administration Building, 3202 North Wisconsin. Join our remarkable team. Call for your appointment, 309-672-6770.
Thank you. Our community contribution this afternoon, we have two organizations and individuals that we'd like to recognize. Tonight, Mr. Alex Kazam, are you with us? You want to come up to the podium and talk a little bit about the 7-week junior achievement training?
APSCO?
APSCO.
Yeah, no problem. First of all, thanks for having me up here. I feel like this board right now is making a really big difference, doing everything that it needs to be done to get our deficit down and keep on staying relevant everywhere where the kids need to feel it. And it's going amazing, and the community is rallying around it. So congratulations to you for doing it. APSCO is an idea. It started as a concept. It was meant to stand for, does not stand for a Peoria Public Schools company. That's what APSCO was meant to stand for. We are not, but we are, because everything that we do, all the profits that the company makes is for District 150 and Peoria Public Schools. For you to decide where those funds need to be spent through a couple methods. So the kids, it's only for sophomores and juniors. How much time do I have?
You're good.
2 minutes, 3 minutes? Yeah, around there? Okay. So we take sophomores and juniors, which start with a 7-week junior achievement entrepreneurial course. Then they graduate into an organizational chart of a company, of APSCO, which is a non-for-profit 501c3 registered company. And they take some character tests. They kind of tell us where they would like to work, and we take them in a different division of the company. This company develops apps for local clients. For example, we just developed Mount Holly's app, extremely successful. In the first 3 weeks of release, we had 363 downloads, what may not mean a lot to you, but they only have 400 members. 5,200 page views, and we have kids, we have a data and tech team that gathers all this data, because we teach them that it's the data that matters. The bells and whistles are for the users, but the data is what matters. So we have an analytics team that gives out data to the customer. We just signed the Peoria Riverfront Museum, so we're extremely excited about that. We're going to be doing, and I would invite anybody that wants to come. We're going to be from 9:30 to 10:30 at the museum next Wednesday. Testing out some beacon technology for them. The kids are setting it all up. The kids do everything. They do the press conference. They go to the meetings. They run the meetings. When people come, the classes incorporated at Richwoods, but we've had some classes in this building as well. The companies come and they meet with us. The goal is to prepare the kids for college and for future life, depending which path that they take. And I can tell you that what they have gotten out of it, and everyone that has been involved in it, it's been a labor of love, and everyone is feeling great about it, because it's delivering so much to the kids. And you can go to our website, apsco.org, and you can see the press conferences that the kids have done, see some videos of the company and what the kids are saying about it. It's been a short year that it's existed, but it's kind of gotten to a dream start. we're applying in 2018 to become a full-time course at Peoria Public Schools, to be taught and to get school credit for. At that point, the more the kids can work, the more profit is made by the company, and that's the deal. Everything that kids can do, programming, we have some programmers in there that are unbelievable. We have a couple girl leaders that have separated themselves admirably and just really gone after it, and and they're getting in front of very important people, and that could lead to jobs down the line, and certainly a great experience. So the goal is to have our sponsors where we have Unity Point, we have CGN, Chamber of Commerce. You guys, of course, have helped us out tremendously. Miller Hall and Triggs does pro bono law. Benjamin Edwards sponsors our business luncheons, so once a month, the kids lead a business luncheon type of an environment like this, where we serve food and the kids explain to companies and people how to use AppSco. We have 6 clients lined up already, but we're taking it slow. So what we're asking our sponsors is to cover all of the hard costs of the program. So everything that the company does is net for the district. So that's what we're trying to achieve. The goal is to raise $100,000 net for the district every year, and I guarantee you that we're going to do it. The goal is more, but that's what we've always stated. That's what we're going to try to achieve. So our revenue model is we bill a client one price for a project, $2,000, $5,000 depending, then a monthly maintenance, $200 to $500. All that revenue stream starts kicking into the company, and it hires the kids in the off months of school. This summer we have 15 kids working and 3 that earned full-time summer internships. The kids have worked all summer. It's been incredible, and they've gotten paid. It's not yet payment from the revenue that the company's making, but we've had a pretty good start, and the kids are getting paid from it, so we're really proud of it. I would welcome anyone to come to a class Wednesdays from 9:30, 9 to 12. Pop in. We'll try to post our schedule. You can follow us on appsco.org, and we plan to do good for the schools. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any questions? Any questions?
Any comments or questions, Mr. Walther?
I just want to thank you. I think this is a tremendous idea, and I know as busy as you are, this isn't something you had to do, but it sounds like it's kind of a labor of love for you too, but as just one board member, I really appreciate what you're doing, because it's so practical for what the kids are going to do that we're doing this thing with. I just want to thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, they're learning. We have kids already that are like, I want to go work here. Girls that already know they want to do marketing, and we have a couple tech guys that are going to be tech guys, but then we're also teaching them. Everyone interacts with the customer. Everyone meets our client. At Mount Holly, we had all the kids working. Some kids that would not even say a peep are talking to people of different ages, different races, and being accepted. And they know what they're saying. I mean, it's amazing. They've done amazing. Anyway, I won't take up too much more time. I'm just so proud of them.
From anyone else? Ms. Jackson?
I too would like to thank you. I think that we have wonderful, wonderful students with Peoria Public Schools, and I think that our community stakeholders are bringing out the best in our kids, and I just thank you for bringing out the best in our kids.
Thanks for allowing it, because I promise you it's because of this leadership that this stuff is happening. It's not a coincidence, so. Yeah.
And on behalf of the Board of Education, we want to thank you for your commitment to Peoria Public Schools.
Thank you.
And our families and students. And Dr. Karat has a little small token of our appreciation.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, so much.
I mean, he's a successful businessman and a role model for young people. A lot of them actually do want to be entrepreneurs. I have seen Mr. Kazan from the very beginning with the idea. He brought it to us. We had some hurdles. You were patient because we had to pull in the attorneys. And it's really amazing to see the kids. And he's correct. He stands behind, and they're talking to presidents, the country club. I was invited to that. I mean, you should see those kids in action, getting some meaningful, relevant, and they're doing all the work. And the analytics, I mean,
Amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tonight's second award goes to Adams Outdoor Advertisement. We have do we have Kelly Impens, and who's the district account representative, and Mr. Chris Kohler, the general manager. He won't be here? Okay, so Kelly would like to ask you to come to the podium and tell us a little bit about Adams Outdoor and what you're doing for Peoria Public Schools.
Well, I totally wasn't aware I was going to speak tonight. But one of the things that Adams Outdoor, in case you guys don't know, we're the billboard company in the market, and we have about 500 billboards, and of course, we can't sell them all. We would like to, but we can't. And so we offer public service agencies around the Peoria area space on our billboards. And there's just a small fee that covers our cost for production and a posting fee for the guys to go out and install them. And you guys Chris reached out to me a few months ago about the reading program, the summer reading program. And we were happy to, we have 4 of our posters. They're 12 by 25 feet. That's the size of the billboard that we have for you guys. And we have 4 of them, and they'll start off at 4 weeks in one location, and then as we need them, they'll move and fill in space that is unsold throughout the summer and maybe even a little bit into the fall. And we're very happy to do that for you guys and other public service agencies in the market.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions or comments of Kelly? We appreciate you, and Dr. Karad has a small token of our appreciation.
Thank you.
I fell in love with Kelly because we really wanted to advertise the summer reading program, and you came in the nick of time, and I love the email you sent to me, and just being a partner of Peoria Public Schools and encouraging young people and their families that it's important to read every day, even if it's for 20, 30 minutes, and you and your company, Adams Outdoor, played a major role in. And I know a lot of kids are reading because I've gotten some feedback around
Yeah,
that.
good.
So thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Happy to.
So where are those for?
Absolutely.
Where are those for? Do you know the proximity of the 4
Oh.
billboards?
Oh,
One?
we don't have a billboard at Glen and Knoxville. Oh, yeah, Lake and Knoxville, we have one on Sterling Avenue, I believe.
One by Peoria High on Sheridan.
Chris knows.
Okay, all right.
Oh, yeah, Sheridan and Laux probably. And then they'll move as we need the space, so.
Oh, good, good.
on Farmington Road?
Probably, that sounds right. I should have looked that up before I came, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're
And we
welcome.
look forward to a long relationship.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you, Kelly.
Okay, now we have district presentations. The first is the academic end of the year, 2016-17 end of the year presentation.
Susan and Dr. Torrijigian.
Yes.
And eventually
Mr. Welch. All right. I suppose we probably need to move, right?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Tonight, okay, I'm adjusting my glasses here just a second. So tonight, we're going to talk to you about our assessments that we've taken throughout the school year. First of all, we're going to cover our park results. Now, we can't be very specific about them because they're not official. So what we're sharing with you are the grade level results, which is a good indicator of what's happening with our curriculum. So we do like to look at those data that way. The PARC test is the test that the state of Illinois has selected to measure the Common Core standards, and it measures students against a benchmark, so it's an attainment type of test. This is the second year of implementation where it was given just during one time period. 3 years ago, it was given in March and May, and then last year and this year, it was given in a shorter window, just one time from March to April. So we actually now have similar results from last year to this year, so it gives us better feedback. And the PARCC test is given in reading and math in grades 3 through 8, which is the area we're going to focus on tonight. We also take the NWA Measures of Academic Progress, or MAP test, and that's a formative assessment. So we give that 3 times a year, and what that's for is to give feedback to teachers on how students are learning throughout the year. So it's considered adaptive. So whatever level the student starts at, we look for growth from fall to winter and winter to spring. So it's very student-specific as opposed to the PARCC test, which is benchmark-specific or attainment-specific. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go on through the presentation. NWA actually came up with a predictive factor, which was to give us an idea of how we should do on the PARCC test. And it was fairly consistent. It wasn't dead on, but we were still in good shape. So we're going to go ahead and walk you through that now. So again, these are not official results. And by that, what I'm meaning is that we might have a student move from one building to the other. So a third grader is a third grader, which is why the data you're getting tonight is accurate enough. But it could be that there could be some slight differences once the state does their final blessing, so to speak, I think Dr. T calls it. And that usually comes out in September or October, at least has in the past.
We prepared bar charts for the results of the PARCC exam. We wanted to contrast 2016 to 2017. And on that same slide for each grade level, we also are showing the NWA grade level for winter and for the spring results for the kids. Same grade levels as the assessments were given for the PARCC. When Ms. Grisnich mentioned that the results aren't official, we have unassigned test results. Every school district does. Kids move in and out during the testing period, and we have to lay claim to those results before they can actually become official. So that process finished on Friday, but the state will not call them official until September, right before the school report cards come out. As you look at the data and you look at the bar charts, you can see that the one on the right for PARCC is taller than the one on the left. And at the bottom, you see the percentage of children that have met and exceeded on the exam. And there has been an increase in each and every instance in reading and math and at every grade level. Ms. Grisnich also mentioned the NWEA data, and when you look at the bar chart on the right, these were the percentage of children that were predicted to have met or exceeded according to the results for the winter and the spring offering of that assessment. As we go through the results by grade level, first we'll go through reading. The good thing about it is that you can see that there has been an increase from 2016 to 2017. So now we can start truly tracking the kids' data by year. And we're seeing at least 1.5% to 2% increase overall throughout the district in reading and in math. It doesn't sound like much, but when you realize in a district of Peoria size, when you say 1.5% to 2%, and you're talking about a testing population of 5,500 to 5,800 kids, it means that we've actually got 100 more kids to 120 more kids to meet or exceed on this exam than we did the year before. And once we get curriculum into full swing, and we've laid it out there, it was the first year for some of the new initiatives that Ms. Grisnich put out there, but once we get everybody to drink the wine, I think you're really going to start to see the results take off. On average, we had approximately 2.2% increase of kids increase from last year to this year, and like I said, that represents about 120 children. So I think that is a significant gain. And mathematics followed the same trend that ELA did. We see increases from one year to the next. Some grades, like third grade, which was also a stellar grade for us last year, did the same thing for us this year. You can see an over a 5% increase at that grade level. Fourth grade, fifth, all of them show the same increases. Now, the NWEA data, as you look at it, as we go through this, you can see that the winter may have been a little bit better predictor than the spring data did. We think that some of the kids are tired by the time May comes around, and we think they're easing up on us, but we're still trying to get them to, hold it and make sure that they meet us at the finish line. And there's some other indicators that the state also uses to rate schools, and one of them is the percent of children that are passing algebra at the 8th grade level. Right now, we've got 2 buildings that offer 8th grade algebra, and you can see that the percentage for them passing pretty high, 96.3%. We actually did better this year at 98.8%, and Ms. Grisich and the district admin has decided to push algebra into other middle schools in the district. It does help if a child can take that high school algebra in their 8th grade year. By the time they reach their senior year, they can actually take every math, including hopefully an AP calculus course, which should set them up for success if they're going into the physical sciences or a medical profession. Freshmen on Track is exactly what it is. It gives us an indication of how many kids after the end of 9th grade are setting themselves up for graduation at the end of 4 years. And Peoria, like most school districts, has 1 extra instructional period. And when you look at, we normally require 26 credits. Well, we have 7 instructional periods, times 4 is 28, so a kid can actually has 2 periods. You don't want them to play with them, but there's a little bit of a cushion there. But as long as that child doesn't miss over 1/2 a credit at the end of his freshman year, we consider that child on track, because 4 times 6.5, that's 26. So we know that that child has set themselves up for success. And so this year, or this past school year, 2017, we know that 80.5% of our kids have set themselves up for success. And if we can keep that going, that'll translate into gains at the graduation rates. Advanced placement tests and dual credit courses. And this is another indicator that the state likes, and it's how many kids are taking advantage of our higher level courses. We picked advanced placement and dual credit courses because there isn't much of a screening process for them. We try and get the kids to take those courses, and as you can see, we're increasing the numbers across the board. We've got even more kids scheduled to be in there for 2018. Those are the requests that the kids put in, but it's getting higher. And it really helps the children if we can get them to take these courses now. Then they won't have a $1,200 per course charge when they get to college. So it'll save a couple of dollars in the long run. And advanced placement, we had a question about this, and normally for a child to get college credit for the AP courses that we offer, they have to score a 3, 4, or a 5, 5 being the top score, so that they can have college credit, one whole course, 3 whole credits when they get to school. And we offer a variety of courses from the English language arts up through science. And as more kids push into the courses, you can see that the percentage of children have gone down, but when you multiply that percentage by the number of kids who are actually taking the courses, you'll see that there is a greater number of children who are accomplishing that course and getting that credit for that course when they graduate. For example, 30% of 461 is approximately 150. So 150 kids have got college level course credit. And say, take a look at 2010, when you had 60% of 130, well, that's only about 78 kids. So as we've increased the number of kids who've gone in there, you know, when you increase the size of the population, you're not going to have the success you want, but one of the main purposes of getting a child into an AP course is to get them that college-level rigor that they normally don't see at high school, so that they'll know exactly what they're walking into when they hit that campus. There'll be no culture shock here. So the more kids we get in there, the better we have them prepped for when they actually do get to school.
So some of the work that we've been doing and that we're going to continue to do is around the work of rigor, and that includes that equal opportunity to higher level courses it's very important for us to give students more opportunities and not feel like they're left out of the higher level learning. This year, for rigor, we're going to focus on the term monitoring for learning, and that's catching that need for reinstruction or redoing something right in time during the lesson. It's a piece of formative assessment. We're also going to work on student autonomy, and that is to make sure that we are having students do more of the work themselves. And by that meaning the teacher is going to give the instruction and then have students, we call it productive struggle, and have them have to work a little bit harder to gain the learning, because we know when we have to work a little bit at something, there's a greater sense of accomplishment and there's generally better retention of learning when that happens. So we're going to continue also to work on the equal opportunity programs, and Mr. Welsh and I are working on that closely with our EOS system, which we've asked the board to support for us. We're also continuing our new ELA curriculum at 4th and 5th grade. This year they had new pacing schedules, but coming up they're getting new materials, which will be connected to the K through 3 program. And so we're very excited about that. We also are able to purchase books this year for the K through 3, which we were using more electronic reading, and now the students, we're going to have more books in hands, so we're excited about that. Mrs. Steele has also been working on getting the social studies curriculum aligned to the new standards, and so we'll continue working on that, and the alignment piece is starting this year. We have Mr. Booth is going to be rolling out the SEL curriculum this year. We had a great year with him doing the research and the studying within the district and learning from the teachers what's needed. And so we're looking forward to that rolling out. The equity practices are not just the courses, as it says there, but it's also just in how we look at access all the way around and making sure that we're finding ways, again, to give students rigorous learning opportunities. We also are actually meeting tomorrow to hammer down the instructional coaching and feedback work that we do from central office with our schools, and we've got an exciting new design that we're hoping to solidify tomorrow, and that will have us kind of approaching our support of the schools differently. So we also, this past year, did a thorough study of what has formerly been called RTI, Response to Intervention, which is what the state used terminology-wise for the academic support structure for students who need extended learning opportunities. The state has since picked up the term multi-tiered systems of support, MTSS, and that encompasses the academic side as well as the social emotional side and then behavior sides. So it's considered more comprehensive and broader, but it all works off a 3-tiered system. And so what that means is tier 1 is what we do for every student every day, whether it's academic, social, emotional, or otherwise. And then we start to differentiate the support that we give to the students as we move up to the 2nd tier and then up to the 3rd tier. And it gets more intense support and more frequent support for students. So we spent a lot of time this year, both Mr. Booth and my team, talking to teachers and principals and psychologists and social workers and coordinators, just to say, what are we doing, how well is it going, and then where do we need to refine things. So it's not necessarily something new, but it's been refined, and we're pretty excited now. It also supports one another. and there's consistency between the approaches, whereas before they were kind of operating in isolation. So in some cases, not every building operated that way, but in some cases. So we're trying to be more systematic across the district. We're also excited, as the board knows, we were selected to be part of the competency-based education program pilot that the state put out this year. And so, again, Mr. Welsh and I are going to be working closely on that, and the rest of the team, on designing a new way of looking at learning for students. It's not time-bound. So if a student can learn in an accelerated way, there's the possibility of that. If there's a student that learns in a hands-on way, they can learn it through the Career and Tech Education Program or a totally different way. So we've got a team of teachers and administrators, and I'm sure we're going to have some other focus groups that are going to work on that with us. So we get this whole year to really plan it and plan it right. And again, that's all about reimagining high school, which you're going to hear us talk about that a lot, because we're trying to make school fit kids and not kids fit school. And so we're pretty excited about that. So one of the other cool things that happened to us this year, Mr. Welsh is going to talk about, and that's the Pre-Apprenticeship Grant.
Thank you and good evening. Tonight we're extremely excited to share with you that Peoria Public Schools has been awarded a Pre-Apprenticeship Grant from the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity in the amount of $245,000. This initiative will focus on recruiting, enrolling, and supporting students into our IT and healthcare pathways. The students enrolled will earn industry-specific credentials. Additionally, local business partners will provide internship opportunities, job shadowing opportunities, speaking opportunities for these students in these targeted high-need, high-growth areas. 2 career counselors funded by this grant will identify and recruit our students into our IT and healthcare dual credit programs. In addition, the career counselors will partner with local businesses and hospitals to provide opportunities, and they've supported us throughout the grant application process with MOUs. Again, our goal is to significantly increase the number of Peoria Public School students earning industry credentials in high-growth, high-demand occupations. An essential component of the grant is our partnership with CareerLink. They will assist our credentialed students into placements into more formalized apprenticeships, adult-aged apprenticeships, and jobs upon graduation from Peoria Public Schools. So we're extremely excited about the work ahead that is going to be supported by the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity through this grant.
All right, any questions of our team? Mr. Walther?
I've got a couple. You may want to bring the screen back up because we're going to go back a little ways. I appreciate the presentation. I understand you've been directed not to talk to board members, so I'm going to ask you some questions here so that we can get some clarification. If you could go back to the advanced placement and dual credit slide. I guess that would be you, Dr. T. The discrepancy between 2017 and 18 between the 503, 166, 675, and 77, could you clarify that a little bit more as to what that breakdown is? Well, whoever, I mean.
Go ahead, Doc.
Okay. There was a push on for AP courses this year, and I believe that's why you see so many more kids in the AP program in 2018 than you had in 2017. Now, the dual credit courses, all I can think of is that part of that same body of children that probably would have wound up in dual credit opted for AP as opposed to the dual credit courses. Though hopefully they'll wind up with the same credit to carry to college with them, even though they went the AP route. And I'm hoping that they'll both have success.
Through our partnership with Equal Opportunity Schools, we identified students through teacher surveys and student surveys. And with those surveys, we received information, and that information varied from, I've just never been approached as a student to take advanced placement courses. I don't know enough about the programs, so I never really considered it. And principals and counselors sat with each student that was identified and encouraged them to take, advanced, more rigorous courses. In addition, we're going to have supports put in throughout the day for students, especially students whose first experience with advanced placement. So we're excited. We're excited about the data that we received from Equal Opportunity Schools, and we used that data to encourage students to take more rigorous courses to prepare them for college.
I really like that approach. I have another question is, what's the breakdown on dual credits at Richwoods, Peoria High, and Manual? What's available for them at those schools?
We're currently addressing that now because there are significantly many more opportunities at Richwoods High School than there are at the other two schools.
Yeah.
We've identified for the first time a dual credit class to be taken at Peoria High this fall, and we're working closely actually with Jeff Atkins-Dutro, who's stepped up and is going to teach the class. In addition to the actual dual credit class, he's going to teach a bridge class. So he's been in collaboration with ICC and their Dean of Language Arts throughout the summer.
Yep, Mr. Walter. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, ICC's working on schedules as well so that our students can actually go to ICC still during the day. So they've made some nice adjustments there.
That's what I was going to, if they were going to do that. I think Dr. Crott knows this has been a passion of mine because I really think, if you're wanting to attract people into District 150 and to go, and as Dr. T had said, my goal was hopefully that students could get out of here and get close to a semester done. I think she would like them to have their whole graduate course done from ICC before they get out of here. But I appreciate the work you're doing on that, and I do like the recruiting technique that you bring kids in to approach them on that because I think there are a number of kids. I remember when I was in high school, I wouldn't have thought about that, but having a counselor or somebody approach me, I think makes some sense. I had a question too on when you talked about. You made it, and you said it very quietly, but there are going to be books for K through 3 this year? Because I know we were doing a lot of the transfer.
We did, we had electronic last year, and then we printed some, but this year we've ordered them, so they're on their way right now as we speak.
In speaking to some teachers, and some of us do speak to the teachers, that there was a problem because there were times kids would take those electronic things home, and the parents would think that was just a handout instead of it being their curriculum book.
Right.
So I know there were some problems with that, so I'm
Right.
grateful that we're
We did some budget work so that we could make that happen.
Okay. He's not here, but maybe at some point in time, we could get some information on the SEL curriculum, on how that works. Yeah, Coach. Well, I mean, he wasn't on part of the thing. I did. Right. And the first year planning on the pilot for the state that we're doing, we did the educational planning. We got a grant also for that. And so.
Well, it's not a grant in the sense of it's funded. It's, we are granted to get to do it, so to speak. So
but you have to create it,
we've been
basically.
blessed. We have to create it, and then the pre-apprenticeship grant will be a kind of a guidance for us as well, but we're always seeking ways to help fund things.
We're currently working on a waiver that we will present to Dr. Karat in terms of different opportunities and really kind of tailored to the different needs of students throughout the district. So we want to make that waiver broad enough to address various requests.
Yeah, I want to say congratulations to you and Dr. Crott on the grant. I know I happened to be dropping by when you guys were applying for that and trying to get that thing through. I know it's really a short time span, but you indicated some of it. There are going to be 2 career counselors that are going to help you recruit and set people up. Is that what the intention is?
Exactly. We have identified the IT career counselor, and we are screening candidates now for the healthcare position.
Okay, and then they'll work with Unity Health Point and some others, and we've talked about internships from some other people too that may not be there yet, but we're looking at recruiting. Right. And hopefully, Dr. Crott suggested, I think it's a good idea, we've got partners with Alignment Peoria that I think this may be a perfect fit for them to step up and, come up with some stuff. I mean,
it is a perfect fit. And a lot of the, like Unity Point and others have, as part of the application process, wrote MOUs in support of the grant where they are agreeing to step up and provide opportunities for our students.
Right. There are about 10 of them, including health department, the city of Peoria, the county. It's pretty incredible, all of the hospitals. I just want to mention, Dr. Walter, when we came on board, There were no dual credit classes at Peoria High and none at Manual.
Right.
And so we
We're
worked
moving.
quickly to, yep. And again, thanks to Ms. Atkins Dutroux, he's really working with us to assist at Peoria High. He raised his hand and said, I'm willing to do this, and we appreciate that.
With the, I guess I'll go back, I didn't mean to dominate this, but the ICC thing, would they be able to, the students then would be able to, probably second semester, obviously now, look at, are you going to have some time so they can, if there's a class available, or, I was a guidance counselor at Illini Bluffs, and we were part of the Pekin work co-op that they had there, and students would be granted release time that they could go for that.
Can you
Is
talk
it-
about the Strong Start program?
Right. We
Right.
started Strong Start, as you know, a year ago.
Right.
A year ago this month, actually, in terms of its inception, and we received a lot of inquiries into it. We're going in now to our second year, and students are really drawn to it. Now, obviously, the classes that they're taking are transferable classes.
Okay, that's what I was
That's an
going to.
important piece
Yeah.
of this.
And how many students do we have in that?
I believe that there's approximately 80 students now going
Okay.
into it for next year.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. That's fine.
Other question? Mr. Shaw?
Mr. Welsh, what types of credentials will the students be able to earn in the IT and healthcare field?
We've identified two. The main one in IT is the CompTIA A+ certification. And students that are enrolled in SIMNet 150 and 151, which is a dual credit class, will be eligible to sit for that exam, which will lead to that credential. And then in the healthcare, specifically CNA, CPR, and the first aid certification.
And Mr. Shaw is IT, so if we can
All
maybe
right.
pick his brains, that'd
Yes.
be great.
That's great. Great resource.
Thank you.
Right. We already have the CNA program, so this would be advanced.
This is to recruit more students into it.
Into it, okay.
And also to realign it and to have greater success with the number of students who are actually earning the certification in CNA.
And the CPR program is basically new, but we also have other programs there. Could you just talk a little bit about those?
Right. One of the programs with hair braiding comes to mind when Susan was talking about competency-based learning, because that provides opportunities for our students to earn credits in addition to the curriculum for hair braiding that we currently have, but also possibly draw that in with chemistry, possibly draw that in with some math courses. And those are all the details that we're looking at working out with teachers that want to step forward and provide, varied opportunities within their curriculum to collaborate with other classes.
And this year, we also have AMT working with us?
What we did, we combined the fire science with EMT, and we were calling it emergency services. And we work closely with Dr. Spiller, who's now joining us with Peoria Public Schools. We're excited about that. But we work closely with him to combine these two, because we were finding that students were having a conflict choosing one or the other. So we're going to mainstream it, put it together. Then what's brand new for this year is our law enforcement pathway that Dr. Spiller worked with us also on. So we're excited about both those programs. And we have a brand-new director of CT as well, Mr. Michael Kuhn, whose first day was today. So a lot of excitement around CTE.
Sounds like, yeah. Other comments or questions of this team?
I was just going to make a comment that I'm very pleased with this report. I appreciate the time that you put into showing us the numbers behind the magic. And I guess my hope is that these are the first real, green shoots of an upward trend in terms of how we report out, in terms of our students' progress and putting the Peoria Public Schools in a better light in the state report card.
Dr. Bob?
Hi there. Thanks very much. I went over your report with a fine-tooth comb. It took me hours. Nice job. Those of us Star Trek fans would say you guys kicked asteroid. That was really well done. And Mr. Adler preempted me on my comments. I think it's more, though, if I may add to your metaphor, I think it's not just green shoots, but it's sending roots down that are strong so that what comes out of this is going to stand for a long, long time. Nice job.
Thank you. Ms. Jackson?
First of all, thank you. These are areas our kids will really excel, and when they leave school, they can get good jobs and be able to take care of their families, and they don't have to do 4 years of college to do that. And a lot of kids want to do that. With your EMT program, once kids go through that, they can't get a license till they're 21. So what do we have in place to keep them interested? Because I know those jobs are available. People are looking for them all over the country. What do we do to keep them in place? And once they get 21, do we hold on to them and help pay for those licenses and all the things they need to get through it?
Right. That's where our new relationship with CareerLink is going to come in, where we take these students and we offer them these pre-apprenticeships and these opportunities. And then the next step, and once they graduate and have these credentials, is job shadowing opportunities, internships, jobs themselves, perhaps related jobs. And then we also have opportunities when you mentioned, like the fire department has Explorers program. Right. The police department also has a cadet program. So there are definite ways that these new career counselors, that'll be their responsibility, is that we're not finished after graduation. We're helping them transition to the next step within their career pathway.
And our vision is to start that in middle school, actually, where students are not only planning their high school, but what they're going to do after high school. And so that's pretty exciting, and our pilot really is going to be with Manual this next year with the individualized learning plan for each student, but we have career cruising in place at 6th grade and up so that students can really identify early, if they're ready to say what they want to do. So we think that'll anchor that longitudinal interest and keep them, on track as well.
The NAACP worked with the city, and they put an ordinance together to bring the law enforcement and fire science to get kids so that their numbers as it relates to minorities will increase. And there is an ordinance in place that requires the city to do that. So I would suggest that you contact Reverend Marvin Hightower, who's now the president of the NAACP. We are really interested in making sure our kids become part of 2 areas where we know that they'll prosper and be successful.
Yeah, we're currently working with them, Ms. Jackson. Mr. Welch, one of the things, I don't know if you saw that email, I know you're on vacation, we're going to talk about numbers for the fire science program, but we are working with them.
Good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You made me feel even more comfortable in what we're doing, so thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, if there are no more comments, thank you, team. While you're going back to your seat, I'd like to introduce Dr. Marvin Spiller. Would you come up to the podium, introduce yourself? So everyone know who they were talking about, helping to put these programs together. And you're also working with Mr. Booth as well, right?
Yeah, yes, I am. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
It's been a pleasure the last couple of weeks. I guess my second week, actually, on the job, so it's been great. Huge amount of information I've had to take in, and the support of Derek Booth has been great, and everyone. It's been real good. So
thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Spiller is working with us through ICC, and it doesn't cost us anything for a whole year.
Yes.
So we're happy to have you. We love free stuff.
Yeah, and he comes highly recommended,
Yes.
actually, and highly qualified. He has a doctorate. He's a sociologist and has done a lot of writing and has been in academia for a long, long time, professor. And I was saying this is a nice opportunity to get some practical work done out in the field, and maybe you can write about it, bridging theory with practice, and it's a great opportunity. Again, welcome, and you'll be an amazing resource to our kids. He's actually will be reporting to Coach Booth, and I believe that you'll be over the high schools, right? Coach will be over the middle schools, and Lynn will be, so he'll primarily be hanging out at the high schools, and yeah.
Good. We look forward to great
Thank you.
things.
Thank you.
Okay, we only have one presentation.
I listen to you guys.
Let's see. We are now at the place on our agenda that provides an opportunity for members of the community who wish to address the board. As you know, we are volunteers elected by you to oversee the development, implementation, and maintenance of a quality education for the students of Peoria Public Schools, District 150. Board welcomes your comments and suggestions related to that goal, recognizing that we all have our First Amendment rights of free speech. We ask that your comments be focused on those issues within the board's authority. There are some issues we are not at liberty to discuss in public, such as personnel and other executive session topics. However, if you have a specific personal concern that needs to be addressed, we will have a staff person work with you. In addition, board members are accessible outside of these meetings. Our phone numbers and emails are listed on psd150.org. We recognize that 5 minutes may not be enough time for some of you to express your thoughts, so we have installed a comment box over by the door that you came in for your thoughts. And our board secretary will collect those after each board meeting and compile and share those with the superintendent and the board. When you are recognized, please come to the podium and state your name for our records. Each speaker has 5 minutes, and no one under age 18 may address the board unless accompanied by parent, guardian, or teacher without the consent of the majority of the board. Our first speaker is Mr. Terry Knapp.
Tonight seems to be full of success stories, and it's good for the district and good for the leadership in the district, especially Dr. Crott and Susan Gerznich and others. Particularly liked your story. It was fantastic. I would like to talk about another potential success story, and it started, my acquaintance with these people started back in 1975 when I went to Canton as a teacher and a basketball coach. And at that time, I met Gary Gerznich, who was the father of Miss Gerznich, and he went on to be the regional superintendent of schools in Fulton County. Her brother was in was in junior high at that time, and he came back. He went on and did junior college coaching, tremendous coach, and he came back to Canton as athletic director, and he eventually now is at East Peoria, going to try to turn around a program that's fallen on tough times, and he's going to be the dean of students over there. I met Miss Gerznich basically when she was here working for the district. I'm sure she probably wasn't even born yet when this was all occurring when I was at Canton in '75. But I would like to say or share an experience with you. I know how to smooth the woman. No, I was particularly interested when I came back to the district about newspapers. I'm not a journalist, but I got involved with Elaine Hopkins and others and became a board member with the Community Word newspaper, and I was kind of selected a couple weeks ago at a board meeting to approach District 150, and Ms. Gerznich is that person in curriculum that I would approach, and so I called, and she was getting her suntan on her vacation, and I left a message for her with her secretary, Joni Bastian, who used to be her secretary, and when she got back, they said she was going to get back on Monday. This is after 4th of July. And so I expected that I would have to call her Tuesday because she would have a mound of work to do, and I'm sure she did, but I got a call on 9 o'clock Monday morning, as I remember it, maybe, and tremendous response to, her busy workload. And I talked with her briefly and put before her, this is a community word. You have one of these in front of you. I put that in front of you so you have an idea. I'm sure you've all read the community word sometime or another. It's a monthly publication. But journalism has gone by the wayside in District 150. Bob Solaski was here with the Woodruff Alumni Association, and he has gone back from 1937 through 1977 and put to a disc all the publications at Woodruff. I think they were monthly publications, Mr. Walter. I don't know if you remember those. But anyway, they're going to be available to anybody who wants them on disc. I think one disc basically will have all of those papers. And it's a tremendous endeavor by him. But my point here is journalism is important. I think all of our high schools have dropped a newspaper for various probably political reasons. I don't know. And it's sad because our kids are not getting journalism as per se. So on Tuesday, after I talked to Ms. Gerznich on Monday, she had some suggestions and volunteered to meet with some people from the community word, not me because I know nothing about journalism, but Elaine Hopkins and Clara Howard. I think you all know Clara Howard. If you don't, you missed a tremendous journalist. And Bill Knight, who was also a tremendous journalist with the Journal Star back in the day. And they are going to put their heads together and talk with Ms. Gerznich and try to come up with a way to motivate our students in English, especially. They used to teach journalism in English. They don't do that anymore. And they need to return to get young people interested in journalism, not only analyzing stories, for example, from this paper. If you open it up and look at it, you see people like Ray LaHood, Roger Monroe, Sherry Cannon, Sharon McBride from West Peoria, and others that produce articles. To go over it with a teacher, an English teacher, and kind of analyze and take apart those articles will teach them how to write articles. And I think Susan came up with an idea, what's the possibility of students writing in a publication like that. And I'm sure that when they sit down and talk with these people on this committee, they will come up with ways to feature articles and feature students in those newspapers, if you wish to. I mean, I don't know. It's not worked out, obviously. It might be, somebody might say, no, this isn't going to happen. I know the Journal Star's in the district schools, but I don't know that the Journal Star actually comes out and works with the students. I don't know that. I don't know that they don't.
Thank you.
That's,
Are you almost
that's
done?
5?
Yes, it's time. Thank you.
Thank you. Short. Thank you.
Ms. Sharon Cruz.
I have given you the attendance records for only Calvin Coolidge's 7th graders for 2016-17. Since you wouldn't yield to my begging for free data for 3 grades, I purchased only the 7th grade records for $69. This was a much more time-consuming task than I expected, so I will give you the data for the 7th graders from the other schools later. It is my understanding that policy dictates that a certain number of absences per year should result in a student's being held back for a year. I don't know if out-of-school and in-school suspensions count toward that total. Therefore, I do not know how many Calvin Coolidge students should have been retained. However, the column of data stating retained indicates that no 7th graders were retained. I was startled to learn that attendance is taken 9 times a day, which means that there are 9 times a day when students have the opportunity to get lost in the building or outside. The records show that way too many students take advantage of those opportunities. The data included tardies, but I did not record that data, so the information I gave you includes only absences. I am curious to know whether or not period absences are considered as part of a student's total absences, especially when pass-fail is considered. There were 111 seventh graders at Calvin Coolidge. The students with the highest number of absences are as follows: 41 whole-day absences plus 40 class period absences, 40-day plus 28 class, 39-day plus 130 class, 34-day plus 64 class, 29-day plus 104 class, 26-day plus 64 class, 25-day plus 55 class, 24-day plus 41 class, 23-day plus 189 class. One student who was absent only 4 days was marked absent for 86 periods, absent from second period 22 times. You will notice that a considerable number of students who have fewer daily absences have way too many period absences. On page 4, please note that the hourly period, or the period totals, do not include absentees who were absent all day. I was surprised to find that the fewest absences at 194 were for first period. The most absences were 455 for second period. Perhaps seventh graders are not mature enough to handle moving around so much. It seems like they are getting lost much too often. Of course, high school students do the same thing. Schools don't have much control over students who do not come to school, but there should be more control over the movement of students from one class to another. Most of all, this data should cause you to consider the extent to which such erratic attendance prevents teachers from covering all required material and keeps them from maintaining continuity. By the way, schools are held legally responsible for students, so these hourly absences or period absences should be of concern to you. If a child shows up for school, the school should be able to locate the child very quickly at any time during the day. If any legal authorities would ask where a child was on any given day, at any given time, the school should be able to provide that information. By the way, I taught journalism once in this district. Pam Adams is a product of journalism at Manual High School before I got there. And yes, I would love to see it return.
Thank you. Is there any response to audience participation? Mr. Walther.
Just two quick things. Thank you, Mr. Knapp, for bringing up the journalism issue. I appreciate that. Mrs. Cruz, thank you for this information. It won't go unnoticed. I appreciate you doing the hard work for this.
Anyone else? I wonder if some of the information that you have from Calvin Coolidge, I wonder if it's more semantics than real absences. For instance, could a student come in after they call the...
hearing aid, I can't hear you.
Oh, well, okay. Okay, I just, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I wonder if some of this, and we could probably talk to Ms. Gershnes at some point, maybe she's not the right person, but some of the absences that you're talking about during the day, perhaps may happen after they call the roll and the kids come in, or maybe they're tardy. And I hear someone
Correcting that.
Pardon me?
Teachers should correct that.
Right, so we'll take that under
Well, I
advisement.
did take it into consideration, but that's an awful lot of mistakes for one day.
Good, okay.
You can't-
Thank you.
I taught school too, and I know what happens. I mean, kids are in the dean's office, they're in the counseling office, but I mean, this just really seems to be exorbitant to me, but, yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Information items, the pre-apprentice grant? We already did that? Okay. Proposed actions, proposed expenditures over $2,500. Anyone have any questions of Mr. Willis regarding expenditures over $2,500? Seeing none? Okay, we don't have to vote on that. No, okay. Report and request under the Freedom of Information Act and status of such request. Dr. Karat.
Yep, thank you, President Ross. Since our last board meeting, which was held on June 12th, we received 9 new requests. Out of these requests, 7 were filled. There were 2 pending requests that were noted on June 12th. These were also filled. We have received 39 requests for this calendar year. Shouldn't be accurate. At an amount of $887.25. Oops.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. All right, consent agenda. Mr. Adler.
The consent agenda for this evening consists of 20 items. Item number 1 is gifts to the school district. This meeting, $1,970. Year-to-date being the first meeting, $1,970. Item 2, payment of bills. Item 3, payment for travel. Item 4 is a board travel request. Item 5 is a human resources report. Item 6 is the award of the tire bid for district school buses. Item 7 is the award of the oil bid for district school buses and vehicles. Item 8 is the award of the fuel bid for district school buses and vehicles. Item 9 is the fiscal year 2018 contract renewal between Dr. Andrew Morgan and Peoria Public Schools. Item 10 is the FY 2018 OSF tutoring contract renewal. Item 11 is the HALT Center contract. Item 12 is the Center for Prevention of Abuse, Aaron's Law Mandate Program Plan and Budget for 2017-2018. Item 13 is the Elite Contract Approval for Behavior and School Culture Services. Item 14 is the Family Core Contract Approval for Counseling Services. Item 15 is Children's Home Behavioral Health Therapist Contract. Item 16 is the NWEA Renewal. Item 17 is the Learning Sciences International Contract for Harrison, Lincoln, Calvin Coolidge, and District Leadership Support. Item 18 is a collective bargaining agreement with the Transportation Union. Item 19 is the teacher recruitment incentives, sign-on bonus, and candidate referral pay. And item number 20 is a 2017-2018 Memorandum of Understanding with the local number 780 for Peoria High School. And that is the totality of the consent agenda.
Thank you. Are there any items any board member would like pulled for a separate vote? Dr. Bach.
Item number 15, please.
Okay, thank you. Others? For separate vote. Okay. May I have a motion and a second for all items except item number 15?
So moved.
Second.
Is there a discussion on any of the items other than item 15? Seeing none, would you call the roll, please?
Dr. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Adams,
Aye.
Mr. Shaw,
Aye.
Mr. Walter,
Aye.
Mr. Wilson,
Aye.
Mrs. Jackson,
Aye.
Mrs. Ross.
Aye.
Seven ayes, motion carries.
May I have a motion on item number 15?
So moved.
Second.
And Dr. Bach.
Thank you very much. I am pleased to be able to speak to this. At the outset, let me tell everyone that I fully intend to vote for this. And the reason I fully intend to vote for this is because Children's Home, Family Core, and Hope of the groups who are funding have done very good to excellent jobs in responding to a request I made last year that any funds that we write a check for be evidence-based. And in point of fact, I decided to take, last year I held Holt out as an exemplar, and have done so again this year quite nicely. I think Family Court has done a good job, but I have to hold out Children's Home Behavioral Health Care and the report that they gave us. It is nothing short of stunning. It contains virtually everything I need to make a well-informed decision on the scarce resources we have. and it tells you, the taxpayer, very clearly how our money is being spent, where it's going, what the evidence is of its effectiveness, and it's done with state-of-the-art, reliable and valid instruments. And I'm holding back a little bit here because it's let me see if I can find the report. Let me give you an example. Oh, I don't have my mic on. Sorry about that if you can't hear me, Mrs. Cruz. I didn't have my mic on. Can you hear me now?
I didn't hear anything.
You didn't?
Something stuck in my nose, I haven't yet gotten ready to go to my ears.
Okay. Well, you missed a stunning exemplar of scholarly discussion. Huh? For example, if I can find, I had this queued up and then I had to cue it back, so if you'll bear with me just a moment, please. For outcomes, for example, they used the Ohio Youth Problem Functioning and Satisfaction Scales to measure improvements in functioning as well as determine outcomes. So we were able to identify not just how many times a child was seen or how many families were contacted or how many crisis interventions occurred, but we were able to find out probably on the largest level of data is decreased frequency of reported problems, improved overall level of functioning. And this is reliable and valid data because of the instrumentation they're using and the methodology that they're using. It is precisely what I think the public needs to hear Peoria Public Schools doing. This is cutting edge stuff. And the folks who aren't doing this need to catch up. Thank you.
Any other comments on number 15? Would you please call the roll?
Dr. Davis-Madelas?
Oh, heck yes.
Mr. Adler?
Aye.
Mr. Shaw?
Aye.
Mr. Walter?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mrs. Jackson? Aye. Mrs. Ross?
Aye.
7 ayes.
Before I do presentations and suggestions by board members, I'd like to recognize two of our upcoming or oncoming student board members. Would you, is it Mary? Yeah. And what's Selena. Would you guys go up to the podium and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you and why you want to be on the board?
And what are they doing for the
And
summer?
what are you doing for the summer?
Hi, my name's Selena Ruffin. I'm a senior at Peoria High School coming up this year. I'm on the speech team, I'm on the track team, and I did volleyball in my past, and I'm just very interested in being able to be a face for Central. I know sometimes it's not always shown in the best light, and it's an amazing school, and I want other people to see it as such. And this summer, I'm an intern at Illinois Guardianship and Advocacy Commission, and I also just got a job at Hy-Vee, so.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mary Sherman. I'm a rising senior at Richwoods High School, and going back to what that man said earlier, I am the editor-in-chief of our newspaper at Richwoods. It may not be a class, but we do have one. I also am involved in speech teams like Selena, and I'm also student council president. And the reason I was involved in this, as I told President Ross and Dr. Karat and Mr. Walther during my interview, is that I'm interested in public policy work in my future, and I thought, what's a better group of individuals to learn this from? And over the summer, I am working in the Mayor's Youth Work Program, which is actually just finishing up next week, so I'll see Dr. Karat again at that ceremony.
Yes,
so, thank you.
Thank you, welcome. Is that, Mary, is that the one where you're out in the heat that you talked about? I'm sure you're happy it's ending up.
Yeah, I thought it was like getting coffee for the interns, like the mayor's program. In DC. I do it with Mr. Shaw's daughter, and that is the exact opposite of that program. It is mulching 7:30 to 2, Monday through Friday. So it's an experience.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, presentation and suggestions by board members. Be careful.
I have two items. First, for many around the state, I think a somewhat of a collective sigh of relief that the state passed a budget for the first time in over 2 years. Unfortunately, our story is not over in public schools. Our funding is conditional upon adoption of a new funding formula, and the way we hear it is that first week of August, ISB needs to know what the formula is. So if anybody knows anybody that represents us in the State House or State Senate, please call them and tell them to come to a table and help us start school fully funded. So, my second item is President Ross and I collaborated to work up some draft committee assignments for this year. So we'll go ahead and distribute those based upon the conversations we had kind of leading up to the start of the year. This was kind of our best crack at it. Amongst our continually standing committees, we have chosen to create two special committees this year. One is a governmental affairs committee to reflect the very important nature on the success of our public schools that other governmental agencies, federal and state, have on us, including funding. And the second is finance. I think the district has made great strides in kind of angling in on a balanced budget. And I think it's important at this stage that the board spend some time deliberating how we kind of put a cap on that and ensure that it stays in good spot for years to come. So,
If I could comment further on the Finance Committee, Mr. Willis, you were part of the Fiduciary Committee, and one of the things we wanted to do as a result of that is to develop a board-level Finance Committee.
I think we only have 8 copies, but we've got it electronically, so.
Did everybody, board members all get one? Yeah, take that one to Mr. Walton. That's good. We're good.
Changing the locks, Walter.
You have a comment? Yes, please.
I feel a little bit like when you make an electronic response in the newspaper, and then they only give you a certain number of words, and so you do that, and then you have part 2 of 2. So, Mr. Eisenhammer, sorry, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer before you drive home. I'll try and get this done quickly. When I was talking about Children's Home earlier.
I could be in Peoria tomorrow. Don't encourage him, don't encourage him.
Wrong answer.
Are we getting charged for that? In addition to the Ohio assessment that I talked to you about earlier, look, this is really important stuff, folks. I know there's not a lot of folks left here, but, and if you can think I'm a little bit passionate about this, you're absolutely right, especially when we're writing really large checks and in some instances getting none of this data. We have no clue as to the effectiveness of certain programs. In addition, that Children's Home gave us, in addition to the Ohio assessment, they obtained information on number of disciplinary referrals, classroom behavior, overall positive behaviors, and incidents of crisis. And consistently, after their programs, we see decreased number of, in each one of these categories, decreased disciplinary referrals, improved, not decreased, improved, you know what I mean, improved classroom behavior, improved behavior changes, and it's here. And if you want it, all you have to do is ask for it, and I'm sure we'll find a way to get this report to you. When we don't have this information, we don't know what we're doing is working, and we don't have points of intervention, and we're spending money without any bang for our buck. When we do have this information, we get to do the kinds of things that experts like Mr. Booth do well, and that expert like Ms. Gersnich do well. And we get to do things because we have data, and we have very detailed data. We can begin that very challenging task that I spoke with Dr. Karat about earlier in the week, of linking the two, so that that early report that you saw in terms of park scores and NWEA, and then you saw the multi-tier system where we're going to overlay that with SEL. How do you think that's going to happen? It's going to happen with people like Children's Home and Family Corps and Hope. Give us the data we need so that we can do the job we need. And if we don't have the data we need, things aren't going to get better. But we have the data we need to begin that artful interweaving of the tapestry between Mr. Booth and the academic report that we had, which is just absolutely brilliant. Thank you. I wasn't kidding when I said thank you very much. So I just want...
I'm not as deaf as I thought.
So thank you very much for your forbearance and your time and letting me be passionate about this, because I see great green roots and roots shooting down as well because of things like this.
Mr. Walther?
Just one follow-up on what Mr. Adler said. Despite the fact we do have a budget and it's kind of precarious right now, the other person we should encourage is the governor to sign this. We're in a unique position that we're held kind of hostage till this gets out here, but we don't have a lot of time to start school. And we need to encourage both our local representatives and the governor to do this, because we're in a quandary. I mean, quite frankly, we could be in a situation where we've got money that could be here, but we're not going to get it unless it's dispensed. And so I totally concur with Mr. Adler. We need to contact those people. And so that's all I've got. Thank you.
Okay. This is our very first board meeting after the reorganization, and I usually have my little affirmations that I put around at each person's table, but I kind of wanted to just indicate that what my goal is and what I've been trying to do is to develop a culture of respect and a culture of collaboration between the board, the superintendent, and the staff. I mean, I don't want staff to feel that that they have to, endure any kind of abuse or anything like that. What we'd like to do, and what we've been saying, is that our superintendent is the person that we contact if we need information. Now, at that time, she may say, well, go and talk to this one, or I'll have Ms. Gershons call you, or I don't think, in my opinion, I may be wrong, but I don't think Dr. Karat has told any staff person not to talk to anyone, because I don't see that coming from her. So, but it's about respecting the position and getting what you need. And also, if there is a question or a misunderstanding or just want more information regarding anything on the agenda, Dr. Karat has always had open doors. She's willing to meet with you, willing to talk with you over the phone, willing to just dispel any myths or answer any questions. And that's not so that we don't talk about it in public. That's just so that we have the information before we come to the public, so it doesn't look like we're working against each other. So that's my affirmation, but it's a verbal affirmation at this point. But I really am looking forward to a great year, and we want to be good examples for our students as well. So, anything else? No committee meetings. May I have a motion?
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Good idea to stay.
And Dr.